welcome back to Tale of Three Cabins. I've come down here to Tennessee. They had a snowstorm here a little while ago. Very frigid temperatures like most of the South. And when we got here, we had some issues with our main line coming up from the well that goes to the whole community. So basically our whole water supply. We think the line somewhere is frozen on the way up. They fixed a break yesterday, turned the pumps back on, and immediately it broke somewhere else. They fixed that, turned the pumps back on, and that broke. So it seems like there's an obstruction, and that only obstruction most likely is from ice. So we're kind of at our wits' ends to try to figure out exactly where the line is frozen at. And right now I am running out to get as much salt as I can. And I really can't find any bulk salt around here. So I'm going to be getting containers of Morton salt, which are about a pound a piece. I'm probably going to buy about 15 or 20 pounds of that and a bunch of water jugs. We're going to try to go to where we have our booster pump. So we pump water down by the base of the well, and then we pump up to a booster pump to help alleviate some of the pressures needed to get all the way to the top of our mountain here. We're going to try to pump salt and water back down to our main well from the booster pump. There's a blow-off valve there. That's their only recourse right now. I had actually looked into using like RV antifreeze to just dump that down and then we could flush it out. But RV antifreeze is not going to, it would stop things from freezing, but it's not good to melt stuff that's already frozen. I looked into that a little bit for that purpose and it just wasn't going to work out. So now we're going to try this and see what happens. So the guys were not positive where this could be frozen at, and it's probably 1,000 feet down the mountain where we think the obstruction is at. Now they didn't really have any ideas what to do. They were just going to wait for it to melt, but that could take weeks until temperatures warm up around here. And even when they do warm up, there's going to be a delay before it unfreezes. We poured all 20 pounds of salt down this pipe, and hopefully gravity did its job and took it all the way down to where the obstruction is. We did notice when pouring water into here that it was backing up initially, and now it seems it's flowing a little bit freer. The guys are going to go down the mountain to where the pipe is broken and see if anything was dislodged or if the hole filled up with water. Yep.
We got a solid stream of water
Coming out? Really?
coming out that's filled our hole about 2 or 3 foot deep right now, and it's just still bubbling out. So it seems to something has happened.
Yeah. You want me to pour some more water down there and just see?
You can if you want. I mean, we won't be able to tell it, but you can if you want. But it's coming out there in a good stream.
Yeah.
So it's like it's broke loose or something. You know what I mean? But it's going to take a minute for it to drain out of my hole and all that. So, but it's looking like we're gaining.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned opening up that other valve that would let the water run down.
Oh, yeah. If you want to walk down in there, I can show you how to do that. We can see what happens.
Is it in that little building?
Nope, it's out back there.
Oh, where you were.
Out back where we was pouring salt in.
All right, hang on. Let me get down there.
Yep. See how it's about stopped now?
How about if I just send like 2 or 3 gallons down just for now? Because that water is warmer than what's in the pipe, probably.
You can, whatever. I mean, anything's going to do it.
Yeah, and see
Yeah,
if,
whatever you want to do.
yeah.
I mean, I won't be able to tell about your 2 or 3 gallons because we got a hole full of water. But what was running now and bubbling up out of our hole ain't doing anything. And it's real black water like it cleaned that line out.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that it's broke loose.
Yeah. All the insulation, I see the one valve.
Yeah, you gonna open that right fast?
So you got
Or not?
you got a pipe on the left and a pipe on the right.
Yeah.
Which one is the one that would send the water down to you?
All of them are open, and there's one that connects them to in the middle. See that?
Yeah.
The one in the middle's closed.
Okay.
Just leave everything as you got it right there, and then I'll correct it when I come back up there.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to drain this hole and cut it apart, and we'll look at it here, and we'll probably put it together and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because that water come from somewhere. It wasn't coming earlier.
All right.
So I see progress anyway.
Yeah, I'm just hoping there's not a big chunk in there still, you know?
Well, I mean, we don't have to let it flow. I mean, we can dump more water in there if you want from the top.
Yeah.
Thaw, whatever you want to do. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I run through what I got left here? That's like 5
All right.
gallons.
All right.
And then maybe I'll run back to the house and I'll fill them up with hot water and just
All right.
do 10 more gallons, and then you guys can go to town down there. Did you taste it?
No.
Does it taste salty?
No, we didn't see if it's salty or not. Looked a little rough.
Yeah.
That salt probably clean that pipe out.
The glue will have to set for at least 90 minutes, and the temperatures are below 30 degrees right now, so we're just kind of warming the area up a little bit with this torch. You ever work at a cemetery?
We've dug a grave or two.
You dig a mean ditch.
Yeah, we've dug a grave or two.
We dug a couple.
Don't want to do it no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dug one up there for this old guy for his papa.
Oh, really?
And his granny is buried next door, and it drained, it's muddy. The bank started falling out, and you could see her casket. And man,
really?
he freaked out.
Yeah.
It's been 90 minutes. Just prior to burying this, he's going to attach a ratchet strap to just hold this in snug. Just a little extra protection.
Turn the water on like that.
Alright, so we just turned the main well pump back on to pump water up the hill. They've gone up top to where we were pouring down the salt in the water to see if that blow-off valve is going to have any water coming out of it. So I'm just kind of standing by, making sure nothing trips, keeping an eye on some of the indicator lights over here, and I'm waiting for them to call me back to see if they got water up there. So if they got water, that'll be a good sign. We won't have angry cabin owners worried about the weekend. In the meantime, I set up another camera down here for us to monitor things a little bit better. This time I use a SIM card type router. So it's a Wi-Fi router, but it gets its data from a SIM card that I used from EIOT Club. It's pay as you go type of data. I'm probably going to purchase about 20 gigs for the year, and that'll be around 80 to 100 bucks somewhere in there. And that'll be actually what 1 month's payment to the cable company normally would be. You had 300 megabytes with the SIM card to start off with here. It costs $5 for the SIM card. Gives you 300 megabytes to test to see if it's going to work in your area, if I'm going to get a signal. And I am getting a signal. This one happens to be using AT&T right now, but I could use it on Verizon, or you could get a card that does multiple services and, you know, picks the best one, or you choose. But I picked the AT&T card because that was a little bit cheaper just to go with that one, and it appears to be working down here. So now I'm just waiting for a phone call. Pretty hectic first couple days coming down here. Kind of stressful because we have our own things that we need to do at the cabin while we're down here, and those things are getting put on the back burner while we work on these issues. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to kind of walk up along the water main and make sure that there's no other issues from where they made that repair. See any water bubbling up from the ground or anything like that. That's where the first break was, right here. right, nothing happened here with this. They just repaired it. A little paranoid because you hear the water coming down from the creek.
Hello.
Is it bath night?
What's that?
Am I taking a bath tonight?
We got water.
Yeah,
The booster pump's not working.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to time this, so you can leave that. We couldn't get the booster pump. I'll have to thaw it out, but we're probably getting at least 20. I'm going to time it here. I just walked in here.
Yeah.
But we do got water at the top.
Okay. So you had water going out the blow off and everything was all right over there?
Yeah, it was real clean.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we sent it on up here. I may have stirred a little bit in that upper line when I opened the bypass because I had to bypass it around the booster pump to get the maximum flow. It means that booster pump wouldn't start. It must be froze up in it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll throw the heater in there in the morning and get maximum flow, but at least we got it flowing right now.
It's looking like everybody will have water later this evening.
Well, I don't know. I mean, right now we're going to fill 7.
Yeah.
And there ain't going to be nobody up here to switch it over, so you're going to have what water you got in your tanker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'll be up here early in the morning to switch over to this one and then start filling the rooms that ain't got water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we don't have enough water to quite fight everybody yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We got to gain.
All right. Because if you need me,
So
I
ain't
can.
going to guarantee you're keeping water all night.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting a bath and stuff, you better take it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. No, well, I could switch something over too if you need me to do it later on tonight. It's up to you.
Well, it'll
So.
be a process probably.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what we'll have to do here. Like you'll have to bleed the pump out, and that's a process. And
Okay.
so we'll just have to see.
Okay. Always something here on the mountain. The roads are a little bit slick in certain areas, but not terrible. We were able to make it up last night, even though it was a little bit icy with just our front-wheel drive vehicle. And my pickup truck came in. It came in yesterday. I had called the Ford dealer a couple times before we were leaving for the Tennessee trip because I thought it would be nice to bring that down here and put some miles on it before we start towing it with our RV. Today's the 23rd. And they said it was probably not going to be in till after the 25th or sometime by the end of the month. Well, it came in on the 22nd. If I would have known that, maybe we would have held off coming down here. We could have drove the truck down. So just a lot of frustrating things going on in this trip. We have our HOA meeting Saturday, so I'm sure that I am going to get an earful from a lot of owners, and I already am, cabin owners, about not having the water and the weekend's coming up, and they can't afford to do any cancellations and stuff like that. And we're all in the same boat. I'm an owner too. I understand it fully. I probably understand it way more than they do. I'm a bit more hands-on. And not only our cabin when we have to make a cancellation, but I feel for all the other renters because being president of the HOA, there's that much more pressure on you, and it just, I don't like it. Unfortunately, that's the way things are. I always try to be proactive. I always try to see how can we avoid something like this in the future. When it comes to us having water issues down here, Mother Nature is probably the number one reason for it. Last summer we had 5 inches of rain come down in this mountain in 45 minutes. Created a massive exodus of water coming down our little creeks and streams, and big boulders the size of vehicles were moved and decimated our water line. It was uncovered. It eroded away the dirt that was covering it up. In addition to all the HOA stuff that's been going on with the meeting and just doing maintenance with the HOA on the different water rooms, I also have our cabin that we have to tend to. So we took down Christmas.
Rapid Fire Equipment.
Hi, can I bring extinguishers for you guys to check for the annual tag?
You sure can.
Okay. Do I just show up anytime, or do I need to make an appointment, or?
No, you don't have to make an appointment. We're here from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
Okay, 8 to 4. Okay. Mm-hmm. Typically, how much is it per extinguisher?
Well, if it's just a inspection, it's $4 plus a 50-cent safety seal, but that's if it's not required any manufactured maintenance.
Okay.
And that's according to the date, your manufacturer date.
Yeah. Okay.
On the extinguisher. So if that's the case, then you're looking at roughly $25 to $50 more per extinguisher.
Okay.
But these are done once every 6 year and once every 12 year.
All right. Thank you. Well, maybe we'll see you later today.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. I waited a few days after our water supply was replenished and cleaned the hot tub. Then Karen noticed that the mattresses seemed to have a dip in it, at least in the master bedroom. I thought maybe it was just a little soft on myself, but she felt that we needed to replace them, so we went out shopping for new mattresses for upstairs and downstairs.
Whoa!
Come here, William. Come here. Come on, over here. Not too much time to spend in the park, although we did take an afternoon to go hiking a little bit. There was snow in the park at that time, so we did not have decent footwear to walk on the ice, so we were limited to maybe about a 3-mile hike in there. It's always worth getting out, even though you kind of dread, you think you got things to do, and once you get out there, you think, I should get out there a little bit more. Later during our stay, I went to our individual water rooms and changed batteries on some of our tank level monitors. This helps us see what the level is inside of our water storage tanks. We have over 40,000 gallons of storage throughout the community. And if there's an issue, this kind of gives us a warning if there's a leak somewhere or a major loss of water. Also, I set up a couple more cameras, so all of our water rooms now have cameras in them, so we can keep an eye on things, see if the pumps are working, what the pressures are on certain gauges. We can also discover problems much more earlier and exactly where they are happening at. And even though we're still in winter for a couple more months, we do have a pool area that has an issue with one of the doors, and I messed around with the hinges myself. It seems like it binds a little bit when you want to try to close the door tightly. I took some of the hinge screws and tried to manipulate the jamb a little bit and then reinserted them, and it seems to be a little bit better, but it could be a different story once the warm weather comes around. It could be binding again. And then just before leaving, there was another leak up on top of our mountain there in a parking area, and that leak was right underneath a garbage container, a bear-proof garbage container. It appears that it was leaking under there. We don't know if the garbage container interfered with the pipes or something moved or heaved a little bit, but our maintenance guys were working on that just before I left to repair that. We had some family visiting with us. I had a friend that I used to work with on the fire department. He came down for about 4 days. I was trying to show them the sites without boring them too much about all the other things that we have to take care of in the background here. All in all, it was a good trip. It always seems like when we're leaving are the best days, and today is the warmest and nicest day. And it's a shame that we're going back to winter. There's a few items that my cabin needs the next time I come down or have to work on in the meantime, and that is our grill. Our grill is seeing better days. In fact, we were cooking hamburgers on it last week. The bottom is a little bit rotted out, and some of the embers kind of like drifted over to some dry wood and started a small little fire that we had to put out with some water. So I'm a little concerned that we need to change that pretty soon. It's still usable, but there's some small holes in it when you put the charcoal down. And then also stain. Our cabin it came back in 18, so it's 25. It's 7 years since it's been stained, 7 or 8. There are 2 sides of it that don't see the sun that often. That doesn't look too bad. And then there's 2 sides that sees the sun quite a bit, and they're not in good shape. So I'm thinking about staining it myself. Last time that I had it stained, it was the previous cabin that burned down. 15 years since it was built. It was 15 years old, and I don't think it was ever stained until we got it. So we stained it, and at that time it was $5,000 for a crew to come in. It took them about 3 or 4 days to stain it from top to bottom. They pressure washed it, they caulked in places that needed to be caulked, stained it, used some pretty tall ladders on the back side. I don't think it's going to be $5,000 like it was back in 2015. So I'm thinking about doing it myself. 3 sides I can definitely get easily. The front side, I was thinking that I might rent a lift like I did when I had to put flashing back on the house earlier last year. And that seemed to work out well, and I think that lift would help me get to a good portion of the house, and even the hard side I could probably get a little bit using that lift. I've been eyeing it up and measuring and seeing if what I could reach through windows and openings and off the porch, and if I get an extension wand for my sprayer. I do have a stain and paint sprayer. That's the commercial grade that I've used to stain all 3 of our properties. I'm thinking about bringing that out here, bringing my pressure washer out here. So if I have to rent a lift, I try to shoot for a weekend. If you pick it up on a Friday and not have to return it until Monday morning, that might get me through what I need it for. So the lift would help out greatly. I've been using a tape measure and just seeing if I can get like a 6-foot extension wand plus 1 or 2 feet with my arm, how much I could reach throughout the windows. It doesn't have to be pretty. Of course, if I'm sticking my head out the window, I can nicely do the around the window without getting stain on the window, using a brush and keeping it away from the window and then getting so far away from that window. And then from then on, I would use my paint sprayer. I'm leaning towards trying it. I just don't know when. But right now, the wheels are just turning in my head, just figuring out, you know, how long it might take me and just how much of it I can get done by myself. That would be a big project. Not looking forward to it. I'd probably definitely need about a week down here to make sure everything's all wrapped up. So that's another little project down the line. We are thinking about maybe getting in the RV now that the truck is in. Plan a little trip towards the end of February. We'll see how that goes. Be short notice for any sort of reservations we'd have to make at RV parks. But I think it would just be flying by the seat of our pants and not really making any reservations and just staying where we can stay and seeing what's available out there, and maybe down to the Keys and then back up the other coast of Florida, stop by the Space Coast again like we did last year. I enjoyed being out there. That was a nice trip, and I'd like to do something a little bit similar, but a few different places on the way down and on the way back. So that's going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody watching. Hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one's coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.